Hello, everybody, and welcome to a brand spanking new episode of MovieKombat. For those that are watching on YouTube, hello in the future, because this was recorded already. And if you want to watch it live, make sure you check out twitch.tv/Primal_Target over on Twitch. Link is in the description below. You can join us like how these lovely people over here are joining us. So, in this episode, it's the second to last episode. This is Captain America, the First Avenger. We have journeyed through Iron Man. We have gone to the Incredible Hulk. We have met, again, Iron Man 2. We saw Thor. And now we're here with the one that is the First Avenger, which is Captain America. So, let's talk about it. I will say, the first time I ever saw this movie, it was a big, fat disappointment. I think I walked in on this movie in theaters late, had no idea what was going on for the first, 20 minutes of the movie, and then eventually I figured it out. So, I've now seen it a few times at home, because I own this movie. So, it's grown on me, I will say, especially since we've gotten all the way through the entire franchise now. So, it's like, to our current, if you're kept up with the Marvel Cinematic Universe, this movie isn't as bad as you think it is, because there is a lot of characters in this movie that are moderately worth knowing about. So, because you have Bucky Barnes, and then you have also Captain America, two characters that are very important, and then you also get introduced for the first time ever. Howard Stark is a character in it, and not necessarily just a person they keep referencing, and then you see in clippings of videos that Tony's watching, you actually get to see Howard Stark in his kind of prime era sort of situation. So with this movie, it is we're going back in time. We've now gone, like I was referencing this last time. I don't have my pencil for visual reference, which is, where is my big giant pencil? There it is. This. So, if we were looking at the timeline, the MCU timeline, actually it would be better to look like this. We would have gone through Iron Man, would have been right here at this cusp here. And then we went all the way to about Thor, which was about just before we shaved the pencil here. And then for this movie, we've gone all the way back to the eraser part, which is Captain America's part. And then for the next episode of MovieKombat, we're going to jump all the way forward, and we're going to be at the Avengers. So, yeah, this movie is definitely interesting timeline-wise, because it could be very jarring. It doesn't... I think this is actually maybe even the first movie that Disney is now doing. I think Thor was still Paramount. I'd be curious to know if that's a fact in the trivia, because I'm sure you can find it on IMDb who produced this. Production, Paramount, Marvel Studios, and then is Disney not on this? Or I don't know. I'm curious to see if that will be in the facts here later. Because I think Thor was still a Paramount movie. So we'll see. When's Tom Holland coming in? Yeah, he doesn't come in until way later. Phase 3 is, I think, no. So next one would be, no, he comes in this one. I don't know. When is the first Spider-Man? Phase 2 of the MCU. Phase 2 is Iron Man, Thor Dark World, Captain America Winter Soldier, Guardians of the Galaxy, Age of Ultron, Ant-Man. Yeah, he didn't show up until Phase 3, and that's when we get a lot of movies. That's Civil War. Starts off with Captain America Civil War, Doctor Strange, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, Spider-Man Homecoming, Thor Ragnarok, Black Panther, Avengers Infinity War, Ant-Man and the Wasp, Captain Marvel, Avengers Endgame, and Spider-Man Far From Home. That is the very giant Phase 3, which is the ending to the Infinity Saga. We are currently in Phase 1 of the MCU, which is Phase 1 of all that. Never watched a Spider-Man movie, but it's Tom Holland, so there you go. Now, I would say if you're willing to like watch a movie, the Spider-Man movies are always easy to watch. So, yeah, Homecoming would be the first one, but not the first time he showed up, because he would have technically he would have been first time he showed up was Civil War. Yeah, so this is Captain America's first appearance. We've seen the Shield actually before him. We had a little Easter egg in Iron Man 2. So this is now the official time we're getting to see Captain America, Steve Rogers, Chris Evans as the one and the only Captain America. Well, not really the one and the only. He's actually that mantle gets passed on. But anyway, point being, we are here. So, yeah, this movie, it came out in 2011, came out the same year as Thor. And I felt like when this movie was coming out of the Marvel movies that had come out, this was the weakest one. Just because it's a little slower paced. There is action in it, I will say. Oh, this say Paramount, so I'm assuming. I don't think this is officially a Disney one yet, but yeah, we'll see. So anyway, the thing about Captain America is it is pretty important, just because you're introduced with Captain America. You're introduced to Bucky Barnes, who will eventually become the Winter Soldier. You are introduced to is her name? I was about to Peggy Carter. I was like, well, there's too close to Penny Parker. So yeah, Peggy Carter, which you can if you wanted to, you could actually branch off and go and watch after this. Go watch Agent Carter, which is a TV show that played on ABC for a while, and wasn't too bad of a show. I've seen like the first season of it. Second season's a little different, but yeah. So I mean, there's a lot of plot starters and a lot of characters that get introduced here that are again very important later. The Tesseract is then shown for the very first time, which is a very key plot point in Avengers, the next movie that we will watch. So it's, I don't know, but I guess you have to look at it as, in a movie standpoint, what's good and what's bad of it. It's very rushed to me. I always felt like, and I still think, Captain America was a very rushed character to us, and eventually gets worked out. Eventually we grow to care for Captain America. But other than the fact that he's supposed to lead the Avengers, he is very, like, if you just watch this, very pushed in your face, you're supposed to care about this guy. Like, this guy, you're supposed to like him. And you're going to like him. And here's all the stuff that he did that was cool. You're not going to see all that. You're just going to see that he's known. He's well known. Everyone knows him. And he's well loved around the world, or around the country, the U.S., because he's killing Nazis. He's beating up bad guys. He's going on USO shows. He's actually, eventually, you know, all these different missions and stuff you're never going to see. You just don't see any of that because they just have to cram it all into one movie. And then it's to, like, just enough that you're like, okay, so everybody knows who he is. He's a pop culture icon, even though he's the first superhero to everybody. And so you get that impression. It's enough to make it so that Red Skull knows who he is, because propaganda of the U.S. propaganda is leaked over into Germany, and he's not an idiot, so he probably is read up on U.S. propaganda, which would have contained Captain America. So there's like, it's a really rushed, messy movie. There is some good parts. I don't think Chris Evans is bad in it. I don't think Captain America is technically a bad character in the movie. It's just, if you don't know who he is, you're not really going to know who he is until after the movie's done, and you're like, oh yeah, okay, I guess he did some cool stuff. Didn't really see much of that, but I'm glad he did good stuff, you know? And you get a little bit of an emotional ending with the relationship with Peggy Carter and stuff like that. So there is that connection. As someone that has seen the show picks up after Captain America is presumed dead. Like he freezes into a capsicle, as Tony refers to him later. But yeah, so this is that thing of like, if you want to continue in this era of watching Howard Stark and Peggy Carter and seeing how that, like, those characters are in a post Captain America world, not knowing that he's actually not dead, but they don't know that. You do get that in the TV series, but it's, most people aren't going to watch that show. So I don't know. The other thing about this, and I don't want to get too far into it now that I've already started recording this, is I like to keep track of some stuff in the movies. How many times the superhero name gets said, superhero landings, walking away from an explosion, superhero gets a kiss, and the Stan Lee cameo, and if there's any extra stingers, which means is there anything at the end of the movie. So this movie, I'm just going to kind of go through it. How many times does the superhero name get said? That meaning, how many times does Captain America get said? Not Captain. Captain is not his name. You got to say Captain America. You can't just say Iron. Like, hey, Iron. Like, it wouldn't count. So it's got to be Captain America in order for it to be his superhero name. I didn't count Captain, or anything like that, because that's like a rank, which he is. So it's not like his name, I guess. I don't know. Captain Crunch. Exactly. So Preacher says 23. I counted 7 times. 7 times Captain America actually gets said together. One of those times is in a song that they sing over and over and over again, and I didn't hear. I was listening so close. They only say Captain America one time in the song, and then the rest of it is just jargon, just random gibberish. Oh yeah, it is very different. Now, if you count Cap and Captain, then maybe, but I would even say it's probably more. But 7 times Captain America is said. Superhero landings. Captain America is not a fan of superhero landings. Didn't do diddly one of them. Not one. Walk away from an explosion. He jumped into one. He jumped away from one. Didn't walk away from one. So 0 on that one. How many times does the superhero get kissed? How many times does the superhero get kissed? I'll let you figure that one out. The Stan Lee cameo timestamp is 1 hour, 12 minutes, and 19 seconds, which I believe is... No, not the farthest. It was close. Thor had him at 1 hour and 53 minutes. Oh, no, sorry. 36 minutes. Okay, this is the longest. This is the farthest we've gotten. It was 1 hour and 12 is how long we've waited. And then extra stingers, if there's anything at the end, there is one... And it happens 2 hours and 2 minutes and 54 seconds into the movie is where you can see the extra thing. Chris Evans, yes. Yeah, Captain America is Chris Evans. And then Preacher, you said one time he gets kissed. He actually gets kissed twice. He gets kissed twice. He gets a kiss from Peggy, and then he gets a kiss from that random girl that's at the, military checkpoint thing. So, yeah. He gets 2, which is, I think, is that the most that any superhero has gotten a kiss? No. Hulk got kissed 3 times. Yeah, I got 3, yeah. All right. Well, there you go. So those are the little things I like to keep track of, so there you go. Yeah. Now, let's see here. Yeah. Let's take a look at some IMDb stuff since we're already over here. What is that? All right. So let's take a look at some taglines for Captain America. There are 2 taglines for Captain America. Remember, taglines are things that are put on the movie poster that when you're walking in the movie theater and you see the movie poster, there's something that's going to be on it that makes you think that is going to sell you the movie. It tells you all of what needs to be told about the movie in just 1 sentence. I wonder how good Hulk's, but Jesus Christ. Ask Black Widow. All right. Number 1. When patriots become heroes. That's not bad. That's not bad. That kind of explains Steve Rogers when he's a twig, and then he eventually turns into the hero that is Captain America. So, all right, yeah. Guy that loves his country, wants to do something about it, then eventually he turns into the hero. Okay, that's fair. And then the second one is the First Avenger, which is, all right. And if you didn't know what the Avengers were, it doesn't matter. That's the tagline. Okay. Let's see here. Let's go into some trivia, shall we? Let's take a look at some trivia. Okay, we got a few here. Cameo appearances were originally planned for Wolverine, James Logan. How is that really his last name? I'm not gonna butcher it. So Wolverine and Magneto were supposed to get cameos, who were present, and because here's the thing, in the comics, Wolverine and Magneto were around during World War II, so they would have been there. Who it says here, who were present in World War II. At the time, Logan was a soldier, and Lenshear was in internment camp. So, is that really his last? Why are they who wrote it like this? Who's the dick that wrote it like this? Just say Wolverine and Magneto would have been. Okay, so Logan was a soldier, and Magneto was in an internment camp. However, these cameos were scrapped due to rights issues as a result of Disney-Fox merger in 2019. Marvel Studios now owns the rights to the X-Men characters, so they do know. Yeah, I know, but who refers to Magneto as? I don't even know how to say his last name, and I don't want to make it. Do you know that Logan? Okay, actually, his name is James. So if you really want to start splitting hairs, there, preacher, his name's not Logan. But yeah, it's that's how they all are. They could have been there, but the Disney merger in 2019 allowed. I don't know. Now they own it. It wouldn't have been because of them, because this movie came out in 2011. So I don't know why. Yeah, I don't know why it's written like that. So the cameos were scrapped due to rights issues. So they originally were going to be in it, but then they couldn't do it, and then whatever. Okay. Chris Evans declined the role 3 times before accepting the part, not out of dislike for the role, but because he feared what the effects of sudden increase of fame would be on his private life. Then Robert Downey Jr. convinced him to take the part and thus gain the freedom to sign on any other role he'd want afterwards. After that, he had a meeting with the director Joe Johnson and the producers who convinced him to take the role. Wait, what did that say? Robert Downey Jr. convinced him to take the part and thus gain the freedom to sign on any other role he'd want afterwards. After that, what the fuck? Who wrote that? That doesn't make any. I'm trying to figure out. Like, I know what happened, but like it doesn't. How that's written sounds confusing. Like I don't know. I'm not connecting a lot of things there. I do know that when Chris Evans, so when all of these guys signed their contracts with Marvel, they signed exclusivity deals, which prevented them. Now, I don't know if they signed it here, but that's why for a long, long, long time, Robert Downey Jr. was never in any other movies. Chris Evans was not allowed to be in any other movies. Chris Hemsworth was also not allowed to be in any other movies because of the contracts they signed. And then eventually their contracts came up, and then they were to either sign it or tweak it. I think Robert was able to tweak his, but he had a lot of leverage. And this is like way later, and I'm not entirely 100% sure on how and what they said. I know that Chris Evans, when his contract came up, that was when he was in the talks of no longer playing Captain America. So that was like a whole thing that he was wanting to do. So, and then Chris Hemsworth's contract changed, and then that was why he was able to do like Ghostbusters, Men in Black, and all that other stuff, because he had a different contract than the other guys did. So it's like a whole thing. Don't Chris Evans play Star-Lord, or is that Chris Pratt? Chris Pratt plays Chris Pratt plays Star-Lord. There's three Chris's. Chris Hemsworth, Chris Evans, and Chris Pratt. Pratt is Star-Lord, Evans is Captain America, Hemsworth is Thor. Yeah. So there you go. Haley Atwell based her performance as Peggy Carter on Ginger Rogers. She can do everything Captain America can do, but backwards and in high heels. Who is that? I don't even know who that is. Oh, she's like an old-timey actress. Interesting. I'm just looking at her like I would be shocked if anyone knew who that was in this chat. So, Stanley Tucci took the role as Dr. Eckerson. Yeah, that guy. The guy who was the doctor that helped Steve Rogers turn into Captain America. That one. Stanley Tucci was supposed to be that guy. Yes. Because the role enabled him to use a German accent, which he always wanted to play. Okay. So he just took the role because he can play it. He gets to play a German. Hydra's futurist aircraft takes their designs from actual World War II German concepts, such as the Horton H. Oh God, what is that? 718 flying wing bomber. Oh my God, that is a lot. That is a German word. There's like 20 letter. No, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. 15 letters in that. Fighter plane. Okay, so the aircraft that looks like a rocket ship that like spun around it and then like took off like a helicopter, but it still looked like a rocket. That apparently was a concept art that concept that the Germans did have in World War II. They put it in the movie. And then there was another one, the airplane that they flew, one of them, fighter planes that they flew. That was another one of them. So, let's get one more. Unlike some of the other fellow actors who play parts in the film, Chris Evans didn't have to audition for the role Steve Rogers / Captain America, since the filmmakers were desperate to have him play the part. They really wanted him, apparently. Oh, to prepare for his role, Bucky, Sebastian Stan, watched many World War II films and documentaries and drew inspiration from Band of Brothers. Chris Evans was paid $300,000 to play the title role. What? Chris Evans was only paid $300,000? That is crazy. Okay. We're gonna go a little out of order here because I'm gonna jump down. The budget for this movie was $140 million estimated. It grossed $176.6 million in the U.S. and Canada, and worldwide it made $370 million. Yeah, that's insane. And he only got paid $300,000 to be Captain America. All right. Whatever. Opening weekend, they made $65 million. That's crazy. Okay, let's head over to some goofs. What are some fun things that happened here? We'll read it. One of the continuities. When Captain America ice encased shield is revealed in the beginning of the movie, the paint job is pristine with no damage. However, in the final fight with Red Skull, the shield is seen to have numerous dings and scores in the paint from bullet strikes. Okay, I mean that's fair. Factual errors. Oh boy, this is where the comic book nerds come out. Captain Steve Rogers wears the yellow American Defense Service ribbon. The ribbon medal was awarded for qualifying service performed between September 8th, 1939 and December 7th, 1941. Since Rogers joined the Army after America's entry in World War II, he would not be entitled to wear that ribbon. Okay, because it would have been before that. So, all right. Revealing mistakes. Around the 42-minute mark, when Steve Rogers pulls Hines out of his little submarine boat, he throws him onto the dock, then climbing a ladder out of the water himself. Both characters are dry. Their clothes are dry and no water is dripping from them. Okay, yeah, I guess I didn't notice that. All right. Around 1 hour and 55 minutes, James Payton is credited as playing Adolf Hitler. The correct spelling is Adolf Hitler. Oh, they spell it ADOLPH instead of ADOLF. Probably for international reasons. Okay. Yeah, I think we're okay there. Let's see what else we got here. Crazy credits. There is a statement at the end of the closing credits. Captain America will return for the Avengers. After that, the trailer for the Avengers is shown. That is true because they were filming it at the same exact time. There's no opening credits, not even a title. Part of the closing credits is set in montage of American propaganda posters. Star-Spangled Man, the wartime inspirational song Captain America performs, is heard in the closing credits. All right, there you go. Not really the craziest of credits. Released July 22nd, 2011. And yeah, that's about all we can get. If you want to read more fun facts and whatnot, you can head over to IMDb and read that. Sorry, I'm sick as of current, but a lot better than where I was last week, I'll tell you what. Okay, let's go back and let's review this bad boy. Okay. So far, just as a person, and if you're watching this now and out of order, and you for some reason decided to stumble across watching Captain America first and not the other episodes of MovieKombat, I'm going to catch you up here on the rankings. Iron Man has a 9 for me from Primal Target, 8.3 from the PT Nation. Incredible Hulk, 6.9 from PT, 7.3 from the PT Nation. 7.7 for Iron Man 2 from PT, 6.5 from the PT Nation. Thor has a 7 from PT and 6.7 from PT Nation. And now we're here. So, was it better than Thor? I don't think so. Was it better than Iron Man 2? No, absolutely not. Was it better than The Incredible Hulk? I think so. Not by much, might I add, but I think it's a little bit better. Just because even though they do have to cram all the information for a superhero together, it's still understandable of what's happening. It's not hard to follow that he's this well-beloved hero and whatnot. You get caught up on what he's doing. I think the big bad guy of being Red Skull was okay. He's an okay villain to have, but again, unlike in Iron Man 2, where that actually had a battle sequence that it had layers to its battle sequences, that fell short too, because that battle sequence doesn't really have a lot of weight to it when eventually Iron Man does face off against Whiplash with War Machine. That fight is like very quick. This does have a fight sequence, a lot of action, very superhero feel to it. It just doesn't like Red Skull is so forgettable. It's yeah, you don't really care. Now, if we had this movie and then we had a Captain America 2 instead of Iron Man and Iron Man 2, like if we would have had Captain America first and then because we had two Iron Man movies in this phase, in phase 1, right? If Captain America would have had those movies to tell his story, I think it would have been a little bit better because then we wouldn't have had to rush this. It's very rushed. And for that, I have to dock it well below where Iron Man 2 is because it had enough time to go, you already know who Iron Man is. We're just going to roll right into a villain. That's what we're doing. So I think it's the worst. You're wrong. But that's how we review things here. You can give your review and I can give mine. I've seen bad Marvel movies, and we'll get to them, but not this one. So, I mean, like I said, I think it's enough to be relatively enjoyable, especially if someone's like, hey, I like war movies. Is there like a superhero that's a part of that? You'd be like, yeah. If you like World War II, here's that. It feels like it. It feels like a World War II movie. It has the big Nazi bad guy. They're Nazis without saying Nazis because you can't internationally release that to Germany. And so I think that's why they just went with like, we'll mention Nazi, we'll mention Hitler, and we're going to show you Hydra. Like, even though that is what they are. The Hydra are Nazis. So, you know, they're just super Nazis. But yeah, it's what it is. So yeah, I for one think it's about on par as Thor, and I'm gonna give it a 7. I gave it a 7 out of 10, solid 7. That's what I gave Thor because I feel like they're both relatively the same amount of information. They give you who that character is to a T. You feel like you know who Captain America is. You may not feel attached to him. You know who he is, though. You know his character. You know that he started off as this skinny kid from New York and eventually becomes the all-American superhero that will eventually lead the Avengers. Like, you get all of that in this movie, even though it's very, very pushed out the door. Because, again, they were shooting Avengers when this was going on. Like, they were already doing that. You actually literally, if you own this movie on DVD, they will play the trailer for Avengers right at the end of the movie, very Back to the Future 2, 3 style. So that's how it is. So anyway, I gave it a solid 7. I think it's better than the Incredible Hulk, but I do not think it is better than Thor. I think it's just about the same. So that is where I'm going to put it, a 7, 5.9 from Preacher, and a 7.9 from Foxy. So let's get the old calculator out to get what that official score is here. So we got 5.9. Whoop. 5.9. Now, just as for those that aren't in the know, and here is our rating system of how we rate movies. So meh is I could give people a meh, especially if it's like maybe your first time seeing it. It's a fair review. It's definitely like, which is not a great way to say like, hey, you know, whatever. But I think it's worthy of owning, especially since it's part of Phase 1, so it's whatever. 6.9. 6.9 out of 10 is the official PT Nation. No, that's not right. Is that really what it is? Oh, I guess so. Because you guys got technically whole numbers. 5.9 plus 7.9 divided by 2. Yeah, 6.9 is PT Nation. So there you go. And just so you're aware, IMDb has it as 6.9. So there you go. Pretty on the nose. pretty on the nose. I just noted that when I was looking at it on IMDb. So there it is, 7 out of 10 as the official PT score, 6.9 as the official PT Nation score, and that'll be it for old Captain America. As of right now, he is a frozen popsicle. So in order to see him get thawed out, actually no, he gets thawed out in the end of the movie. I forgot about that. They actually do show that. So yeah, he's not. He's just hitting bags at the end of the movie. So next week's episode is going to be the Avengers, the first Avengers movie, and we will see what it is like to have all these heroes that we've seen come together, finally teased, talked about, come together, form a team. Will they do it very willingly? Who knows? Probably not, because they're all arrogant, because they're superheroes. All right, that's going to be it for me here tonight. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure you subscribe. Make sure you also go to twitch.tv/Primal_Target. And then go and follow us over there. Link in the description below. And yeah, that's going to be it. Thank you guys. I'll see you guys in the next video. Good night.